Well, we've got a three-way race to figure out who is the best of the best. Donk, m0NESY, and ZywOo have been lighting it up all throughout the year, each building his case for the crown. The Shanghai Major is right around the corner, and it will be the deciding battleground on who will end 2024 as Counter-Strike's best player. Donk's case begins right at the start of the year. He had a historic performance at IEM Katowice, a 1.70 event rating, which ties Nico's long-standing record from ESL 1 New York in 2017. But more impressive was the fashion in which he did it. We watched him run over everyone in his path at Katowice, embarrassing long-tenured pros on his way to a trophy and MVP. That dominance continued throughout the year, frequently ending events as the highest rated player despite not winning the event at all. A dip in form at Esports World Cup followed by an abysmal 0.79 rating at IEM Corona, the only statistical weaknesses in Donk's resume. Despite that, Donk still ended the year tied for the highest rating at 1.34. But that Cologne performance could come back to haunt him, as strong performances at the most critical events are crucial, and the next two guys excel in that department.
It's donk! Demonic and destructive on nukes!
One of the most frequent arguments I see for Donk stems for his role in his team. The entry fragger, the space taker, the opener, the most challenging role in the game, as the argument goes, should be a bonus factor for boosting Donk's case. In terms of his gameplay, nobody can deny how dangerous he is in the server. His prowess as an entry fragger has been spectacular, the best of the game. His aggressive mindset and assertive decision-making are uniquely special within the scene. Donk destroyed everyone in the first half of the year. I saw many veteran coaches shaking their head after leaving a match wondering how they could possibly beat Donk. What were they supposed to do? He is effective in mid-rounds and good in clutches, although his involvement in late-round situations tends to be less frequent due to his role.
He's got Brokey out long, but for the time being, it's pressure on Carrigan. He's forced into the open, but he's found one spot of safety, one sanctuary spot. Will it work out for Carrigan? Because they do not check for him. They thought it's clear, but Carrigan gets away with a double, and now he's going for all three. He can't stop m0NESY. m0NESY now switches out the AK-47. Discards his weapon of choice, but time is of the essence. He's now gone for the fake into the headshot. He needs a kill right now. Oh! m0NESY with the last second. That's all he had in the pistol. Oh my god, it's just incredible to switch to the AK, back to the kill right at the end again.
m0NESY's year started much differently. His team impotently limped into the start of the season, and m0NESY was called upon to hard carry. He was the second best player at IEM Katowice into the quarterfinals finish, the best rated player at the Copenhagen Major into the semifinals, and the second best at IEM Chengdu in another semifinal finish. This year has shown a new form of m0NESY, the culmination of 2 years of development after bursting onto the scene in 2022. He's confident in every aspect of his game and gets even better at the biggest events of the year. A couple slower events for m0NESY sandwich his MVP performance at IEM Dallas before cratering at the Blast Spring Finals, a 0.87 rating. There's necessary context to this. He had visa issues and had to play his one elimination series straight from the airport, so tough circumstances to be in. But despite that, he has a 1.29 land rating on the year, and his delivery at every single prestigious event he has played at bodes well, with the Shanghai Major being the deciding factor. Bolstering m0NESY's claim is not just his obvious talent, but more importantly, the versatility with which he wields it. He's got an incredible playbook for CT side picks that have made him the most dangerous player in that regard. He's got a fast and accurate AWP. His rifle work as an AWPer puts some riflers to shame. His utility usage is spot on. He excels at multiple disciplines with the AWP, taking picks, combat AWPing, trading kills, holding angles, and he can seamlessly switch into any of those disciplines when the moment calls upon it. And we haven't even gotten yet to how clutch he is. m0NESY has the best movement and intuition in chaotic and clutch situations, and his highlight reel of clutches in this year alone is unreal. There's nobody in Counter-Strike I would pick to win me a seemingly unwinnable situation. m0NESY has turned his weaknesses of the last couple years into his strengths, and he's developed consistency. He spent most of the year trailing Donk in this rate due to his hot start, but the trophy and MVP at the Blast World Finals put him slightly in the lead heading into the final test.
Get it in that goal hole. No!
looking for forward. He's got every single one.
And that brings us right back to the inevitable ZywOo. Oddly overshadowed in the opening stages of the year due to Donk's emergence and the level that m0NESY was playing at, this was the first year since ZywOo became a professional player that it sort of felt like he wouldn't be involved in the best player conversation. But ZywOo does what he always does, quietly and humbly clocks in for a hard day's work. He didn't have a bad event this entire year. Although the Copenhagen Major was quiet for him at a 1.08 rating, he just consistently kept trucking along until we're looking at a 1.34 2024 LAN rating, tied with Donk for the best in the scene. And that consistency is his key, because he doesn't have the hardware to match up with the other guys. He has one event win, but it is a huge one. IEM clone with the MVP to boot. Compare that to m0NESY's 3 trophies and 3 MVPs, and Donk's 3 trophies with 4 MVPs. But ZywOo hasn't had a rating below 1.20 since March, and nothing below 1.26 since June. And that's what makes this race culminating at the Shanghai Major so awesome. ZywOo's consistently great performances throughout the year have put him in a position to take one last miracle run at what would be his 4th Player of the Year achievement. ZywOo may just be the proverbial tortoise in this race if he can power Vitality to a major win and take the MVP. Now, all that being said, here's where I stand personally on the best player conversation before the major begins. First things first, m0NESY is my best player of 2024. I think he's too good in too many aspects of the game. All of those have been on display throughout this year, especially his performances at 2024's big events like IEM Katowice, PGL's Copenhagen Major, IEM Cologne, Blast World Finals. His performances at these events have been better than both ZywOo and Donk. On top of that, he's played the most of all 3 contenders, 162 maps to ZywOo's 134 and Donk's 120. That kind of production across that many maps and rounds played in professional Counter-Strike is staggering. Donk is second for me. I have nothing critical to say about him, if I'm honest. This being his rookie year is just incredible. Mind-blowing statistics behind him, jaw-dropping highlights throughout the year. He forced the entire professional scene to rethink how they took what used to be simple duels. However, I don't buy into the idea that because he plays a subjectively more difficult role, he should get special credit. I too often see that brought up as a way to neutralize the argument of m0NESY's late round clutches. The IEM Cologne disaster class is a huge mark against him, and to be frank, the 2 BetBoom Dacha MVPs and 1 trophy at those events don't hold significant enough weight in my judgment to put him above m0NESY. And then let's be real about ZywOo. I rate the consistency he's had this year very highly. It's an impressive feat and an underrated attribute of players. It allowed ZywOo to rank highly statistically in events even if his team struggled. The only way I see ZywOo winning the title is if he delivers Vitality another major trophy with a major MVP for himself, and on top of that, m0NESY would have to have a catastrophic failure at the event, and probably Donk too. What seems potentially more likely considering the state of all teams involved is ZywOo leapfrogging Donk for 2nd place if Spirit crashes out early. But again, the major decides everything, and the performance of these individuals at the major decides everything. And finally, I want to leave you with a thought exercise. These best player conversations are interesting if you're willing to have the conversation and not care about being right at the end of the day. Because at the end of the day, everyone's criteria is different. It's entirely subjective how we place importance on certain aspects of the game over others. So here's your thought exercise. Could JL from Na'Vi be the best player of the year? He can't come close, obviously, to competing statistically with a 1.13 rating on the year. He can't even really statistically compete with some of his teammates at the moment. So how much importance do you actually put on ratings and statistics? He's played in 7 finals, winning 4 of them, 2 of those best of 5s. One of those was the Copenhagen Major, where he took the MVP as well. He had monumental impact in every single playoff game at that major. They do not win it without him. And we did a video on that. Just in case you forgot, feel free to take a look. Does taking that impact into account change your criteria for 2024's best player? 4 trophies and 2 MVPs for JL in 2024. What if Na'Vi wins the major and he takes another MVP? Would that be enough to propel him past the statistics and into the top 3 players of the year? Having a major trophy and 2 major MVPs, the most critical pieces of hardware on the entire calendar? What if he has incredible impact again and he's one of the sole reasons they win the event? Would that be enough to make him the best player of 2024?
He has 1, and that's great, but now Zertian goes down